Fear is one of the most powerful emotions humans experience. It exists to protect us from danger. But sometimes fear grows beyond logic and becomes something much deeper. Phobias and irrational fears can affect everyday life, relationships, careers, and even simple activities like walking outside or speaking in public. What makes phobias fascinating is that the brain reacts as if the danger is real, even when the person knows it probably is not. Psychology has spent decades studying why these fears happen and how they shape human behavior. Here are 7 psychology facts about phobias and irrational fears that may completely change how you see fear itself. Fact number 1. Your brain cannot always tell the difference between real danger and imagined danger. When someone has a phobia, the fear response in the brain activates almost instantly. The amygdala, the part of the brain connected to fear and survival, reacts before logical thinking has time to catch up. That means a person with arachnophobia may react to a harmless spider as if they are facing a deadly threat. The strange part is that many people with phobias fully understand their fear is irrational. They know the elevator is safe, the dog is friendly, or the airplane is unlikely to crash. But the emotional brain often overrides logic. This is why simply telling someone to calm down rarely works. Their nervous system is already in survival mode. Psychologists believe this reaction developed as an evolutionary survival mechanism. Early humans who reacted quickly to danger had a better chance of survival. Today, that same system sometimes misfires and creates overwhelming fear in harmless situations. Fact number 2. Phobias can be learned from other people. Not every fear comes from personal experience. Research shows humans can develop fears by observing others. A child who repeatedly watches a parent panic around snakes, heights, or social situations may unconsciously learn that those things are dangerous. This process is called observational learning. The brain absorbs emotional reactions from the people around us, especially during childhood. Even media can contribute to this effect. Horror movies, frightening news stories, or viral videos can create lasting fear associations. This explains why some people develop fears of things they have never directly experienced. Someone may fear sharks without ever seeing one in real life. Their brain learned the emotional response through stories, images, or the reactions of others. Fact number 3. Avoidance actually makes phobias stronger. Most people assume avoiding fear will reduce anxiety. In reality, psychology shows the opposite often happens. Every time a person avoids the thing they fear, the brain receives a message that the danger must truly be serious. For example, if someone with a fear of public speaking avoids presentations, they may feel temporary relief. But over time, the fear usually becomes even stronger because the brain never gets a chance to learn that the situation is survivable. This is why many therapies for phobias involve gradual exposure. Exposure therapy slowly introduces the feared object or situation in controlled steps. As the brain repeatedly experiences the situation without disaster happening, the fear response weakens. The goal is not to erase fear completely. It is to teach the brain that fear does not always equal danger. Fact number 4. Some phobias may be connected to ancient human survival instincts. Certain fears are surprisingly common across cultures. Snakes, spiders, darkness, heights, and deep water are among the most universal fears humans experience. Psychologists believe these fears may have evolutionary roots. Thousands of years ago, these dangers posed real threats to survival. Humans who quickly avoided poisonous animals or dangerous environments were more likely to stay alive and pass on their genes. Over time, the brain may have become naturally more sensitive to certain threats. Interestingly, people tend to develop phobias more easily toward ancient dangers than modern ones. Someone is statistically more likely to fear spiders than electrical outlets, even though outlets may actually be more dangerous in daily life. This suggests the human brain still carries traces of survival patterns from the distant past. Fact number 5. Social phobia can feel physically painful. Social anxiety disorder, often called social phobia, is much more than simple shyness. People with this condition may experience racing hearts, sweating, shaking, nausea, dizziness, or even panic attacks during social interactions. Brain imaging studies reveal something fascinating. Social rejection and embarrassment activate some of the same brain regions involved in physical pain. In other words, emotional humiliation can literally hurt on a neurological level. This may explain why humans fear judgment so deeply. Throughout history, being rejected from a group could reduce chances of survival. Ancient humans depended on social belonging for protection, food, and support. The fear of rejection may therefore be deeply connected to survival instincts. For many people, the fear is not about speaking itself. It is about the possibility of embarrassment, criticism, or humiliation. Fact number 6. Irrational fears often grow through imagination. The human mind has an incredible ability to imagine worst-case scenarios. Unfortunately, this ability can also fuel anxiety and phobias. A person afraid of flying may imagine crashes repeatedly before boarding a plane. Someone with health anxiety may interpret small body sensations as signs of severe illness. Psychologists call this catastrophic thinking. The brain predicts danger before it happens and treats the imagined threat as if it is already real. The more vividly someone imagines disaster, the more intense the fear can become. Ironically, highly creative people sometimes experience stronger irrational fears because their minds are skilled at creating detailed mental scenarios. The imagination becomes both a gift and a source of anxiety. Learning to interrupt catastrophic thinking is a major part of many anxiety treatments. Techniques like mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy help people challenge unrealistic predictions before they spiral out of control. Fact number 7. Overcoming a phobia can physically change the brain. One of the most hopeful discoveries in psychology is that the brain is capable of change. This ability is called neuroplasticity. Through repeated positive experiences, therapy, and gradual exposure, the brain can build new emotional patterns. Studies show that successful treatment of phobias can reduce overactivity in fear-related brain regions. In simple terms, the brain learns a new response. What once triggered panic can eventually feel manageable or even normal. This does not mean fear disappears overnight. Recovery is usually gradual. But every small step matters because the brain constantly adapts based on experience. Someone terrified of elevators may eventually ride them comfortably. A person afraid of dogs may slowly learn to pet one without panic. The brain is not permanently trapped by fear, even when the fear feels overwhelming. In many ways, phobias reveal both the strengths and weaknesses of the human mind. Fear exists to protect us, but sometimes the same survival system becomes overactive and begins protecting us from things that are not truly dangerous. Irrational fears can feel impossible to control because they operate deep inside the emotional parts of the brain. Yet psychology also shows something powerful. Fear can be retrained. The brain can learn safety just as it learned fear. Understanding how phobias work is often the first step toward overcoming them. The next time you see someone struggling with an irrational fear, remember that their reaction is not simply dramatic or exaggerated. Their brain is responding as though the threat is real. And for them, in that moment, the fear truly feels real. That is what makes phobias one of the most fascinating parts of human psychology.